In 2022 at Agent Launch, we spent over $5 million just on Google Ads, or PPC as you might know it as, specifically for real estate agents to generate real estate leads. As you can see right here, this is $3.55 million in spend for the dates January 1 to 31st, 2022. We also have another $2 million in spend for a white label client. That doesn't also include our ad accounts that we've given to our clients that took part in our program, and that doesn't include the ad spend we've spent for our own business, which is in the several hundreds of thousands as well. So now in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how to construct a really great Google Ads campaign specifically to generate leads as a real estate agent. Now, if you followed my content before, you know in these videos, I really don't hold anything back. I'm gonna give you all the tips and tricks, all the details, because the truth is Google Ads is a very technical platform and the details need to be buttoned up really, really tight. So I'm gonna show you what's changed in 2023 when this video is actually made, what stayed the same, and how you need to button up these details, because I'm gonna be honest with you, there's about 4 or 5 guys who do Google Ads at a high level in the real estate industry. I know all of them. Unfortunately, none of them actually make big, long YouTube tutorials like this. There's a couple other creators out there who do that, but they don't actually do this for their own business, and they could never show you numbers like I just did. Unfortunately, I've watched some of their content and they're littered with mistakes. I don't say that to knock these people. I have a lot of respect for them. I just am looking out for my user at the end of the day, so you know who to listen to. It's important that you're listening to people who really do this day in and day out. So moving on from that, if you do want to follow along, I do have my tried and true Google PPC cheat sheet. If you want a copy of that, leave a comment down below. I will send you a link to it. What's going to happen is you're going to land on a page like this where you can opt in, and that's going to get sent to you by email. Okay. If you put in your phone number, we're also going to send you a special invite. I'm not going to tell you what that is now, but leave a comment below. We'll get you a copy of that. You can see a little snapshot of the Google PPC cheat sheet here. It's basically a keywords guide and a cheat sheet. In this form, you'll actually have an option to join our Facebook group, which I recommend, because if you do have questions about this video, it's great to leave them down in the comments here, but also we get really engaged in our Facebook group about this stuff as well. And if you are interested in working with Agent Launch more one-on-one in our super done for you, holistic, one-stop shop program, you can click apply to work with Agent Launch, book a call with us, and we'll tell you what it's about, and we'll decide together if there's an opportunity to work together in that capacity. Now, without further ado, let's get into this tutorial. So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna go to ads.google.com. Now, in all my tutorials, I usually start from scratch and show you how to set up your account. I'm just gonna skip over that. If you wanna go to one of my old tutorials, you can actually see a link to it up here. That'll show you kind of the starting your account and all that kind of boring stuff. When you go to ads.google.com, it'll prompt you to set up a Google Ads account, and then it's gonna actually get you to start creating a campaign right away. But I'm gonna show you how to get around this, okay? Now, one thing I wanna do before I actually start the tutorial itself is just talk at a high level why we love Google Ads. You've probably heard me talk about this before if you follow my content, but when you're comparing Facebook and Google Ads, they have very different purposes and utilities. Why we love Google is because Google has something called search intent, meaning people that go to Google to search for something, there's a bit of intention behind that search, meaning they've gone to Google to type in homes for sale in your area. That means there's somewhere in their journey or they're somewhere curious about properties. If you're showing an ad on Facebook, it's more a brand awareness play, unless with the right strategy and a really specific, well-tuned copy and images or videos, like it can work. Google Ads is just a lot more streamlined to do long-term and a lot more consistent. You don't have to change it as much once you set it up and optimize it. And so with Google Ads, you get search intent. So how I would equate these two things is like Facebook ads is like driving down a highway, and Facebook ads are like a billboard. You're just kind of showing that ad to everyone who passes through, hoping you hit the right people. Google Ads is more like a storefront. When people walk into your store, they do so with some kind of intention. Now, some people are just gonna be looky-loos and they're not gonna buy anything, of course, but on average, the person that types in a search versus the person that's on Facebook just browsing, it's a different type of lead that you get, because people go to Facebook and Instagram to what? Usually kill time. People go to Google to learn something, to find out more information, like they go to YouTube. So the best part about this is you're targeting people based on keywords, whereas Facebook, you're targeting people based on location and demographics. One of the best things about Google, you can actually target anyone in the world searching for real estate in your market, regardless of where they are. And you can choose obviously what countries, states, areas you actually want to target. So basically, once you get your account set up, you're gonna go in here, and this is the starting point, is choose your objective, okay? Now, when you go to ads.google.com, you're gonna get hit with, setting up your account. And in some cases, there's gonna be an option where you can switch to expert mode down at the bottom. Highly recommend you do that first before following along with this tutorial. If you can't find switch to expert mode, stop, pause this video, go figure out how to get into expert mode, and this tutorial will make a lot more sense. So down at the bottom, I switch to expert mode. Then it's gonna give me the proper interface. It's really a simplified interface if you don't switch to expert mode, and it doesn't give you all the options that I'm gonna go through in this tutorial. So you wanna be in expert mode, okay? You don't need to be an expert to be in expert mode. You just need to follow along with this tutorial. So first thing that's gonna happen is choose your objectives. Telling Google, hey, what do we want to accomplish? Well, firstly, you're probably gonna wanna hit leads because that's what most people think. But in this case, you're actually gonna hit website traffic. Now, leads is interesting and you might see form submissions for your ads. That's like the Facebook forms that fill out on the ads. They don't work very well with Google because there's really not much that's happened before someone searches and someone sees your ad. On Facebook, you can deliver a lot more information with your ad. Google, you want it to just be streamlined. So basically you're gonna hit website traffic and then you're gonna select your campaign type. Now, Google has a lot of different campaign types. Yes, YouTube ads run through here. We have performance max campaigns, which are awesome. And we're gonna actually do another tutorial on that a little bit later in the year, probably in about a month from now, maybe even less. I'm gonna have my director of paid media actually do that one with me because we've been doing a lot of testing behind the scenes on performance max campaigns. For the purposes of this tutorial, we're gonna do a search campaign because that's gonna be your kind of primary main campaign that you're gonna wanna run. So go ahead and hit search. You'll also notice there's display, shopping, video. Video ads are more or less YouTube ads. YouTube ads, yes, do run from here. Display ads are those ads you see on blogs and different websites around the internet. You've all seen those. That's just kind of the ones you're really gonna care about. I mean, shopping ads, you all know what shopping ads are. If you search for a product, you're gonna see those ads at the top. But for the purposes of this, we're gonna hit search, okay? In this case, you're gonna put your business's website. I'm not really gonna do that. You can create a conversion action here, but I wouldn't recommend doing it here. I'd actually skip this and then do it later. I have some videos on my channel of how to set up conversion tracking. You can also go on Google and search how to set up conversion tracking. The truth is it depends on which website you have. So if you have KB Core, you can log into the back. You can generate some codes in here and put them in. If you have Real Geeks, you can generate the codes back here, but you have to send it to Real Geeks support to do it. Same with Chime. So setting up conversions really depends on which platform. So if you have questions about that, leave it in the comments. But setting up conversions is really important because that will install code on your website that will connect your website so it can talk to your Google Ads account so that when clicks and traffic get sent to your website will feed back information into this account saying what clicks converted, and therefore you can get a true cost per lead and number of leads right here in your dashboard. So it's really important you set up conversions, but I'm not gonna go into it in this tutorial. Again, I have a tendency of making really long tutorials. I'm gonna try to keep this one a little more concise. So we're gonna hit next. Now, basically campaign name, I like to put just the objective, which is search, and then we're gonna uncheck the display network because we don't wanna run ads on the display network for this. We only wanna run ads to people who are searching in the Google Search Console. Now, you're also gonna hit open more settings if you want, but you're basically gonna wanna leave these as they are in case you were confused. I just wanna touch on that. Now, the next thing you're gonna do is choose your country. Basically, what you're gonna do is you're gonna enter another location. So for the purposes of this campaign, let's say we're gonna target Seattle, okay? Seattle, Washington. So I'm gonna click on targeting Seattle. Now, how I would typically recommend doing this is actually putting in the areas around Seattle. So you might wanna put in Bellevue, Washington. You might wanna put in, God, it's escaping me the different names around Seattle, but it doesn't matter. What you're gonna wanna do is put in your area and all of the other little areas around it that you wanna target, okay? The only reason you're gonna do this is because this will show you the data of people who are clicking from those areas later, okay? The real reason people are gonna see your ad is because they search for the keywords you target, not the locations you choose. The only thing you need to be aware of as far as locations is presence or interest targeting. Now, this is something that a lot of people won't even talk about, but it's really, really important. And this is one of the things that makes Google Ads different. So presence or interest targeting, what is that? Well, if I hit presence targeting, what this means is people in or regularly in your targeted locations, which means these locations are actually gonna matter because we're only gonna target people who are regularly in Seattle and Bellevue, or that's it. Then search interest is just people searching for those targeted locations. So they could be in India searching for your keywords, say homes for sale in Seattle is the most basic one. People in India would see that. People in Brazil would see that. People in Germany would see that. That's where you have to be careful with this, okay? Generally speaking, it's good to start out as just presence or interest and refine from there. If you wanna target more nationally, what you could do is you could do something like Bellevue, Seattle, all of the other areas around Seattle you want to target, and then you could just put United States. Then in this case, you would target presence targeting. Presence targeting means, yes, you're targeting Bellevue and Seattle. That's just so that can show you the data of who's actually clicking in those areas. So you would want to do Bellevue, Seattle, so on and so forth, all around that area. The next thing you could do is presence or interest, as I said, that would target everywhere. But if you want to just target presence, if you want to just target domestic traffic, you be the judge. Generally, we recommend presence or interest in the beginning. And if you're getting a lot of bad clicks and bad traffic from other countries, like we'll go in here right away and we'll actually exclude a lot of places. So we would go in here and we could like exclude India. So this is what we do for our clients actually. Generally, we'll exclude a lot of these high population countries where it's unlikely the quality of lead you're gonna get from there is, you know, potentially what you want, or in some cases there's like click farms and bot traffic that you're gonna pick up. You can definitely exclude like India, China, Brazil, like Indonesia, high population countries that you may not, you know, feel like you're gonna get a whole lot of good leads from. That's okay, because this will target worldwide if you do presence or interest targeting. Just know that. You will get traffic from literally anywhere in the world searching for your keywords. An easier way to do this though, like this is what we do for our clients because we have the skills and the tools to optimize in the most effective way. But if you want just the simplest setup, you're probably gonna wanna just forget that and do it like this. But make sure you have presence only targeting, because what that's gonna do is people are regularly in your target locations, which means people are in the US or who are regularly in the US. For some of you, you might also do Canada, right? So that's obviously an option too. If you're in Seattle and you're targeting Canada, you know, there's potentially a lot of people who are buying real estate from Canada down in the US. But I will say this, for Canadians, the rules just changed. You are no longer allowed to buy real estate as a foreigner. There's some rules and regulations and taxes that go along with that now. I shouldn't say you're not totally allowed, but they've put restrictions on it. So if you're Canadian, this is more important than ever to just do, and we do this for all our clients, just make sure you target Canada, presence only, okay? Let's move on. Let's pretend we're just in the US and we want to just target US. That's what we're gonna do. Languages, just leave it at English. If you are in the southern US, we have a lot of clients who want to target the Latino population as well. So if you do want to put Spanish in there, go for it. Audience segments. So there's really 8 you want to find here. You can just target real estate. You want to be careful about this. This is one of those things in some other videos on YouTube, they're going to make mistakes, but you basically want to put in-market audiences. So in-market audiences are like audiences Google has already that they know are people who are like searching for these things. Basically, you want to put houses, residential properties, new houses. You don't want to put for rent. You want to put all just the for sale, okay? You don't want to put commercial unless you're a commercial agent, obviously. And then you also want to put homeowners, okay? So, sorry, 8, I said 8, I meant 6. But basically, these are all the ones you want to put: apartments, new houses, houses, residential properties, and homeowners. So these are basically audiences Google has, like I said already, of people that they know are already doing these things or are already homeowners. Now, you can select targeting, which would limit just to those people Google already knows are in those buckets, but you don't really want to do that. You just want to click observation, and it will gear your ad spend to those audiences if they're performing better. But you don't want to leave out all the other people that are maybe just searching for the first time, or Google doesn't even really know they're in the market yet because Google doesn't know everything. And so I would just leave it at observation. Budget, let's see, say we're in US dollars here. Generally what we recommend for our clients, because we're more of a program that's built for people who really want to scale, $1,500 a month in terms of ad spend, sometimes $2,000. If you're starting out, I think it's okay to do like $33 a day, which is about $1,000 a month. We like to do closer to $50 a day. So this may sound scary to you, but like I spend $1,000 a day on ads, and yes, it is scary at first, but when you know your numbers, it's not as scary. So that's what I always say with online advertising is make sure you understand what you're doing, or you're working with someone who does, because the separating factor from our clients and people I know who are really successful at Google Ads and those who aren't is how well they've refined their systems and their sales processes on the back end of this. Because you can easily generate leads from this, that's not hard, but generating sales from it is a different story. And if you want to actually do this to generate sales, which I'm sure you all do, you need to focus on getting a coach and a mentor and working on your scripts, objection handlings, your smoke screens, getting over that stuff, having good systems in place, building leverage around you so you can focus on sales and eventually bring someone else in to do that. There's a lot that goes into making this work at a financial level, but know your numbers. When I spend $1,000 on ads, I know I'm gonna get $3,000 to $6,000 back. So for me, spending $1,000 a day on ads isn't as big of a deal because I know that that's an investment and not an expense. And so there's always a trust building process with this. But for the sake of this example, let's just say you're gonna go with $50 a day. Now, next thing you do is bidding. You never wanna have this on maximize clicks. You always wanna have it on conversions, but I can't put conversions. Why? Because I didn't set up conversion tracking. So when you set up conversion tracking, you wanna make sure this is conversions. If you haven't done that yet and you're following this tutorial as I'm doing it, I'll briefly show you conversion tracking. I hope I don't forget at the end of this tutorial where you can set that up, and then you'll be able to change the bidding in here to conversion tracking once you do that. Okay, but for now it's gonna be on clicks, so don't worry about that too much. And ad rotation, just prefer best performing ads. You don't need to change that. Let's keep going. So for your ad group name here, we we like to name your ad groups as per their location. So in this case, I would name this Seattle. What we like to do is have one campaign and multiple ad groups based on those locations underneath that campaign, so that the campaign can spend the budget throughout those ad groups and optimize accordingly. So for example, if you're getting $15 leads in Seattle and $20 leads in Bellevue, your ad spend will automatically get skewed more towards the place where you're getting lower cost leads. So this is just one ad group, but I would build multiple ad groups, and I'll show you how to do that towards the end. You're also gonna get the option here now for keywords. Now I'm gonna spend a bit of time here. Keywords are very important with Google Ads, and you don't wanna take this lightly. So essentially what you're gonna do is use my Google Ads cheat sheet. So again, leave a comment below, we'll get you a copy of that, and you wanna use that to follow along. That's gonna give you kind of the fundamental keywords we like to use in this industry. So you can go ahead and put in your website and get it to suggest you things, but the cold and hard rule for me is don't listen to Google's suggestions 99% of the time. If you get a Google rep reaching out to you by email after you start running ads, ignore them. They will lead you astray. They will not do you any favors. So I promise you, they're generalists, not specialists. You need specialists in this industry. We're gonna go over to our Google Ads cheat sheet. Again, join our group if you haven't, because I know you're gonna have questions about this. That's natural. Basically what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go down to our keywords. So you'll see here that this is the residential search. So this is your most basic campaign setup. At agent launch, we do way more advanced setups than I'm going to show you in this video. I just can't get into all of that in one tutorial, but basically this is your residential search general ad. You know, we do ads for like long tail stuff like pool homes or waterfront homes or luxury or land or acreages and all that stuff. We do retargeting, we do seller ads, all of that good stuff. So for the purposes of this video, we're gonna keep it relatively straightforward. So basically all you're gonna do is copy and paste these keywords in here. And then you're gonna change the city name to Seattle. So you just wanna use copy paste as much as possible. Just say Seattle, Washington. So now you're gonna do Seattle, Washington, replace the city, state. I've made it as simple as I possibly can for you to succeed. So there's a few reasons we're doing it this way, okay? There's a few types of keywords: broad match, phrase match, and exact match. So basically, like, what we're doing here is telling Google what keywords we want to spend money on bidding on. So when someone searches Seattle townhomes, apartments, condos, MLS, homes for sale, real estate listings, property for sale, our ad's likely gonna show up some of the time. Not all the time, because you're never gonna afford all of the advertising in your market, I promise. You represent a very small percentage of the whole. You're just buying up some of those keywords. Essentially, this is broad match, which means we don't have any parentheses around them or quotes. This is broad match, which means if you target just, let's say, Seattle townhomes for sale, this means your ad will show up when anyone searches something broadly related to Seattle townhomes for sale. So they could search Seattle homes for sale, they could search homes for sale near Seattle, they could search something related to that and your ad will show up. If you want to be more specific, you can use phrase match, which is like only people who search Seattle townhomes for sale in Seattle, or something very closely related to that term. And if you want exact match, it means you put these around them and these brackets, and then it'll only show up when someone searches exactly for that. That's a quick tutorial on how keywords work. The reason I have these laid out as broad match is because there's two reasons. One is we're always referencing the city name, Seattle, and we're always saying for sale or real estate listings. When you do this, it's long enough that you can use broad match where Google still knows what you want. So you can say Seattle townhomes for sale. If I just said Seattle homes, I might get Seattle homes for rent, right? There's a big long list of negative keywords you have to add in here as well to rule out keywords like rent, rental, renting, property management, like commercial, things like that. That's why we do it this way. I didn't just throw this together. This is a very well thought out keyword structure, so please use it. We have done this so much for so long. I'm just giving you the shortcut. So please don't get creative with this. Just follow it exactly. That's how you're gonna get results, I promise you. You can go ahead and create new ad groups in here. I think it's easier to do it at the end. You just duplicate them. So use these keywords. They're all in there for you to use in the cheat sheet. Now, let's move on. Let's actually start creating our ads. So again, how do we create our ads? Well, you're gonna go to your website, and let's just say we use my old website, which is not Seattle, but let's just use this as an example. So you would go HTTPS, blah, 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 and you'd actually use your site there. Now, one thing you're gonna do on the display path is note the display path is not actually anything to do with where the link's gonna take you. It's just what's gonna show up. So I would do ybearhomesearch.com/Seattle. Now this is a bad example because my old website is from Vancouver and Seattle's obviously not Vancouver, but you get the point. In this case, it'd be like Seattle. Let's just do Seattle home search. Let's pretend that's our website. seattlehomesearch.com/Seattle. If we're doing Bellevue, you do Bellevue, etc. That's gonna show up in the ad, right? So when you have headlines that read Bellevue, that's gonna actually show up in the ad. You could also do like downtown, right? You could target downtown keywords. That would be cool. We do that in some big cities where we'll target like downtown condos because that gets searched a lot. But basically, whatever you want to target, you have to have enough search volume for it. So you got to research this to figure it out. But these keywords, I promise you, there'll be enough search volume in virtually any city in North America. What are we going to do next? Well, let's come up with our headlines. Let's brainstorm. What should we think? No, let's not brainstorm. Let's go to Eric's Google Ads PPC cheat sheet and let's just use the headlines that he's so kindly given us. So let's dive into that. I'm just going to quickly copy and paste, and this is what I recommend you do as well. You can see how quickly this can be done. There we go. So what you're going to do is obviously change city to Seattle, and then you're going to do what? You're not going to leave numbers. I've seen people make this mistake. Don't leave the numbers. The numbers are there for you to actually put in a number. So 1,402 active listings. I just made up a number. But find out how many active listings there are and put that number in there. If it changes, it's not a big deal. It's just an ad. Nobody's going to remember. So next, what you're going to do is you're going to notice that when I see the preview here, it's going to shuffle all these headlines around. Every time someone searches Seattle homes for sale, they might see your ad, seattlehomes.com/Seattle. And basically, you'll see how it just shuffles kind of randomly these around. And then it's going to see which ones people are clicking on the most, and it's going to optimize for those. However, as I said before, don't leave too much up to Google. Listen to Eric. So what I'm going to advise you to do is position these. So pin them in their relative positions. So there's a psychology behind this. 1, 2, and 3, and then 1, 2, and 3. Now I actually have this lined out right here, pin position, in the actual cheat sheet, so made that easy for you as well. But this way, the first word will always be the exact word that they probably used in their search, meaning Seattle homes for sale. So that's a really simple way to actually do this. Now, you can also do a last one here, which is a keyword insertion. So what this means is you want to put this to title case, and basically what this means is like, you can put in Seattle homes for sale. And so what this means is whatever they actually search exactly will come up as the headline. So if they search Seattle properties now or whatever, then this will actually pop up as exactly what they search. And you can also pin this to position 1. So if they search like Seattle townhomes above $1 million, like for example, your headline of your ad, if you put this in here, could actually read exactly that. Seattle townhomes above $1 million or something of that nature. And if it can't, because it's too long, it'll default to Seattle homes for sale, right? Which is exactly what we have here. So that's the last one I would do, and pin that at number 1 as well, just so you are aware. Now, that's pretty much it for headlines. I would go back here and I would go ahead and add these descriptions as well. So these are gonna go down here. You're also going to add 4 of them so it can shuffle through them, but these are our basic description lines. They're not that important, and boom, done. That's the basic idea here, is have your descriptions. They're gonna rotate through as well. If you see this, they're all gonna filter through and they're gonna test them. But these are your basic ad setup. It's gonna actually do you a lot of favors just by following this. So yes, does our ad strength say poor? Yes. In some cases, you can make your ad strength better by actually adding headlines as the exact keywords. So if you search like for ideas, again, don't really listen to Google. Move-in specials, great service, not words people looking for homes really care about. So I've had some of my best performing ads ever say poor quality. So ad strength doesn't actually mean that much. It means a little bit, but it doesn't mean that much. Another thing you can do in here is add site links. You can also add these later. Site links would be some link that shows up underneath your ad, depending on the preview, right? So I'm not gonna go into these right now, but you can add site links. Usually what we do here is we'll add a site link for townhomes, condos, detached, luxury. So you can add 4 site links in here that would say on this ad, Seattle luxury, Seattle townhomes, Seattle, etc. So go ahead and add those. I'm not going to get into that right now just for time's sake, but it's pretty straightforward. We also have site link extensions in here. So basically, just like I told you, Seattle condos, townhomes, houses, you can even do luxury, and then you can just add search Seattle real estate up to listings 24/7. Those will be like your description line 1 and 2. So that's how you use this sheet to cheat and actually create these ads really easy. There's also things like call outs. Like if you look at more asset types, there's like, you can put your phone number in here. You can also add a location. So a location is actually your Google My Business. So this is how you would connect your Google My Business to your ad account, and then your Google My Business can be connected. The only other things I would do is structured snippets and call outs. So I have those in here, like structured snippets and call outs. So like for Seattle, you put for structured snippets a bunch of neighborhoods that are relevant. Call outs, you just put upsizers, downsizers, relocation, first time buyers. You're calling out potential words or buzzwords that people might use. And so you can go ahead and add these in. Like all you literally do is you hit call outs, and then you go over here and you do exactly this, right? Upsizers, downsizers, first relocation, and you'll see how these show up in your ad. So boom. Now you'll notice that now our ad is gonna have callouts underneath it, right? So your ad's gonna get better and better and better over time. If you do your structured snippets, you could do Bellevue, downtown, area 3, whatever else you wanna put. So in here, there's actually a neighborhoods header. That's why we do that. So apply. Now those will actually show up as well. So see this? Neighborhoods, Bellevue, downtown, etc. So it'll just make your ad cooler, and by adding some of these in, by adding site links and potentially adding more headlines, like you could add a few more headlines, but keep it really close to this. Like don't get creative until you understand it. Like you could do Seattle property for sale or something similar, but don't change it much. In some cases that'll improve your ad strength, but again, like I said, it's not the biggest thing. So then we're gonna go save and continue. And now it's gonna get you to enter your billing information. So go ahead and fill all that out. I'm just gonna skip over this part for time's sake. All right, so once you're done setting up your billing account, you should get to a page that looks more or less like this. Now, I didn't put in any billing information because that's not an account I'm going to use. So I just went over to another account where I had previously set up an ad and as an example. And so what you're going to want to do now is if you didn't put in like site links and all that stuff, you can go in here into your ad groups. You can go to ads and assets, and basically you can add all of the assets that you're missing, such as structured snippets. You can add like a call, you can put your phone number in there, site links, all that stuff. You can do that right in there from the ad group. Make sure you're on the ad group because you can build these things on the ad group or the actual campaign. But the most important thing you're gonna do is you're gonna go in to tools and settings in the top right, and you're gonna set up conversions. If you haven't done this already, you're gonna wanna make sure you do this. I already have one here from in the past, but you're gonna hit new conversion action. You're gonna hit website. You can put in your domain. So in this case, it was ybrhomesearch.com. Old website. Basically what you're gonna do from here, now it depends on what website provider you have, which IDX provider you have. So I can go apply, but you're gonna go down to the bottom and do create conversion actions manually using code. So then you're gonna go add conversion manually. So the category is gonna be, doesn't really matter what you click under here, but generally you could do sign up, and then you could write this as ybrhomesearch.com sign up, right? Don't use a value for this conversion. That's more for e-commerce if something's someone buys something and you want to track that and it's worth $100. And you want to also put the count to 1. This is recommended for lead signups, etc. You don't want people to multi-track leads when they do multiple things. Generally speaking, you can leave all these settings in here, and then you can go ahead and hit done. And then we're going to save and continue. Okay. Now, basically what's gonna happen here is you're going to look at the event snippet. So essentially, like, you're gonna have some data and stuff down here, and there's gonna be really 2 pieces of code. Basically, there's gonna be like the general code that you get, or you can get the actual click code. Now here is where you're gonna get options on how to install your conversion tag. So basically the first thing you wanna do is install the Google tag on your website so that your ad account can communicate with your website more or less. And so you're gonna click on this, and basically it'll give you an option to use the tag you have or install a Google tag, and then hit next. Basically what's gonna happen is you hit install manually, and this is gonna give you this piece of code. And so what you wanna do is you wanna send this code essentially to your web provider, and then you wanna actually, we'll just go discard, but basically it'll verify that if you do that right away, but you're not gonna do that right away. Then you're gonna get the event snippet, and it's gonna be click or page load, but you actually wanna have page load, because that's how a lot of them will do it, is they actually load a specific page that triggers back that data. And so it's all very technical stuff, but that's really how you do it, is you set up your conversion action like so, and then you'll have that action in here, and it should start tracking. In some cases, you might get errors with this. It's part of it, especially if some of these website providers will install it incorrectly. So you want to verify always that it's working. And if you are needing of support with conversion tracking, like reach out to those web providers. They do this all the time. This stuff changes a lot too. Like I personally don't run the Google ads in Agent Launch anymore. We have a team of 3 and soon to be 4 media buyers who do this a lot more than even I do. So sometimes these things change, and like I know how it works. I know how to do this, but sometimes the location of things moves around and changes, right? So just verify whatever's the most up-to-date information on the internet that you can find to actually do that for you. You want to verify that that tracking is actually working. Then what you're going to want to do is go into the ad campaign, and you're going to go to settings, and you're going to change the bidding, right? So that was the first thing I talked about in the beginning. You want to change your bid strategy from clicks to conversions, and that's the most important thing you can do so that it actually starts focusing on conversions. So that basically if you don't do that, all Google's going to do is focus on getting you clicks, but you want it to focus on conversions, because that's gonna have it actually read the data that it's getting and make decisions based around that data, okay? There's also some other things you're gonna wanna do in here, like if you go over to keywords, and I'm gonna give you basically a really quick rundown of how to optimize and like how to add negative keywords. But if you go to negative keywords, basically in this cheat sheet I've so kindly given you, you're gonna wanna just add all of these negative keywords in here. So add negative keywords, add this list. You can easily copy and paste them in here. Add it to the campaign. Make sure you don't add it to the ad group, because if you add it to the Dunbar ad group but not the Kitsilano ad group, then it's not gonna show up in Kitsilano. It's not gonna remove these keywords. And like we have a negative keyword list of over 100 keywords now. I'm just giving you the kind of biggest ones here. But basically if people put rent, rental, rentals, how to, market report, mansion, foreclose, things like that, means your ad won't show up. So it's removing those keywords from your bidding to make sure you don't actually bid or spend money on these bad keywords, because you're not selling rentals for the most part. Unless you are, you wouldn't want to remove those. But in a lot of cases, you won't be doing this. So you're gonna add your keywords there. You'll be able to go in here to search keywords and you'll see all the keywords that you've added, but you're also gonna wanna go to search terms. This is gonna show you the actual things people searched for when your ad showed up and when they actually clicked on them or didn't click on them. This will give you the real data based on those terms. The search keywords is actually the keywords you're actually bidding on. So bit of a difference there, but make sure you have this stuff buttoned down. Check your audiences, make sure you have those applied. Audience segments in here added to the campaign. They're the ones I showed you earlier. Residential properties for sale, homeowners, houses for sale, all that. Make sure you have those in. Make sure you have your structured snippets, your call outs, your site link extensions. That's how you create a really powerful ad campaign on Google. And if you just go into here, you can kind of see that if we go to ads, you'll see that I've used this a very similar to structure to what we used to do. There's only a few changes we've made in the last year. Like I said, Google makes changes quite often, but it's more often in their user interface than actually the back-end structure of how they run their ads. One of the big changes that's happened last year was performance max campaigns. Those are really, really cool. So we're gonna be exploring those in a future video with my media buying team, and we'll go really deep into how those will actually affect you. So as always, everyone, be sure to subscribe if you like real estate lead generation and marketing, branding content. We're gonna be putting out a ton of it this year. I promise you that. So make sure you're subscribed and you hit the little bell so you get notified when we put out brand new content, so you're the first to see it. And I'd encourage you to join our Facebook group. There's a link down in the description for that as well. Remember, leave a comment if you want a copy of that Google PPC cheat sheet. And before you go, one more thing, make sure when you're generating leads like this, you're monitoring this, you're working with someone who's helping you on the sales side, because there's a specific way to sell to these people. There's a specific strategy that you want to use. And at Agent Launch, we help you implement that. We help you implement the system behind it. We help implement a video strategy that we pair with all of that. So your videos and your systems and your drips and your automations work for you, and you can focus on the sales side, which is the relationship side of the business, selling to people, building relationships. And there's a specific way to get over a lot of the objections that you're gonna run into with these ad campaigns. And this is what a lot of people don't talk about, is the conversion process. But a target conversion rate for Google Ads within KPI is 1 to 3%. You can only look at that for all the leads you generated in January 2023, which is right now. You can only look at that in January 2024 and say, for every lead I generated in January 2023, how many of them did I convert? There isn't a magic conversion rate with Google Ads or Facebook ads or anything. I can give the same amount of leads to a great agent and a new agent, and the great agent will convert 5, 6, 7, 8, and sometimes 10 times more people, because they're focusing on their sales skills, they're working it, and they know what to say, they know how to say it, they know how to get over smoke screens. So make sure you're not only generating leads, you're building the systems behind them. We love to use Real Geeks or Sierra Interactive in combination with Follow Up Boss. There's links for all those in the description if you want to check them out. Do not use a different website other than Real Geeks, Sierra, Chime, Sync. Those are pretty much the end of the list as far as website providers that work really well with Google PPC. I'm not going to get into why. I have a video on this channel that I'll link to, which is Real Geeks versus KV Core, and breaking those down by the numbers and why your website platform for Google Ads matters so much in this context. So thanks for watching, everyone. Check out this next video here, and I'll see you in the next one.